I'm using the light. Oh, that's a little bit bright. Hello. Good evening. As you can see, it is evening. It is so warm today, I'm happy to report. Yeah, today I didn't have a chance to do any videoing. I didn't have a chance to do a walk because I was so run ragged since this morning. Odie! I can't see him. Come here. Come here. Come on. He's trying to get through the trees, but they're thick. Come on. So I decided to go take a walk in the evening. I've never done this, but it's so warm. I didn't want to fall off the wagon. Today would have been the first day since I wouldn't have had a walk. So it would be a lot easier without this damn light, but I tried it without the light and you can't see anything. This kid. Anyway, this weather has been beautiful. But the funny thing is I'm planning for a garden. And I have to make this video really short because I don't know if I can stand this light. Odie, you stay here. Come on. What's there? What's there? He sees something, but I don't know what it is. I just don't want it to be like one of those big lynxes. Holy crap, they're huge. Anyway. Squirrel! So as I was thinking about the weather, because in the last couple of weeks, it's been literally dipping to as low as minus 40. And minus 40 is something unreal. I mean, unreal. But the other day it was like minus 30. And I was able to walk in minus 30. I had a ton of Vaseline on my face. And it was early in the morning when I was still puffy from the night before. Because my face, it reacts to life, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe it's just my age or whatever. And today we were celebrating with our friends because we went with my son somewhere, and while he was doing his thing, as you know, my son has autism, and so we try to put him in as many programs as possible. But when you're up north, there's like 0, maybe +1 program, and we're used to just a lot more programs. Although our Canadian government seems to not give a rat's cojones that, children with any kind of special needs or disability should have lifelong support, just like veterans, unfortunately, because I think there shouldn't be such a thing as veterans. That's just my personal opinion. Another time. But there are certain things that there should be, lifelong support for, like disabilities. And the reason why I think that, my argument is at least, is, well, because they don't stop being disabled. Odie, we're not going there. Come on. And so we're always trying to sign them up to whatever we can, but up here, there just isn't a lot of programs. So there's this one thing, Odie, come. Odie. Odie, come on. Hi. Okay, you're staying with me now. It's dark. Come on. And basically, where was I? Sorry, I don't want to lose him today is imperative because today it's dark and I have no intention of being here on my own. And plus, I don't want him to get attacked by something. So together we are stronger. Anyways, so we never ever miss. And because we had 2 other appointments, basically, as I told you, it snows here every single day. Today's been snowing all day, feverishly. Actually, it's slowed down, which is nice. And sorry, I'm gonna have to put you guys on an angle so I can see better. And essentially, even though we had all these other appointments to go to since like 8 o'clock, everything takes about 40 minutes. I think I've talked about this, to get anywhere. So anyways, back to, we were at our friend's house because his event is about 2 hours or so. So we're not going to sit like losers in the car. And basically, we started celebrating this weather, believe it or not. We were celebrating this weather. And the reason why is because, well, it's warm. It's so warm. In comparison to what it's been, it's so warm. We're outside freezing our asses off, and the snow was hitting us like we were piling snow on our head, like right now probably. But we were so excited. What, baby? What? And that got me thinking, because I have a very short season here, and I am starting all my vegetables, like all the ones that need to be started, inside. Odie! Odie! Hey! Oh! Okay, good. I don't want you to go far, okay? I need to see you. Come on. So, basically, I thought to myself, isn't it funny how, the tariffs have really put the idea of not being able to, for example, purchase bananas because they're going to become so out of reach, or oranges or dragon fruit. All of these things that potentially come out of America, we may not be able to afford moving forward. And so I thought to myself, I remember having a conversation with someone, I don't know if it was my cousin or my husband. Oh, a new tree has fallen. And I remember telling my husband, because he comes from a hot country and I come from a 4-season country. And I remember telling him, look, when I was little, I didn't see bananas. I don't remember seeing bananas. And for Christmas, hi, baby. Hi. Oh. And the reason for that is that when your country doesn't grow a specific food, you don't generally depend on that food. And see, I believe that we're all very different. And one of the reasons why we are all very different is our climate. And I don't know if you would agree with that theory, but I would say that there's a lot of things that mold us due to our climate. So, for example, people in countries that are 4-season, a lot of them eat a lot of root vegetables, a lot of beets and potatoes and celery root, and there isn't a lot of variety in way of the fresh fruit and, like coconuts, nuts, like Brazilian nuts. You can't really grow in countries that have this beautiful snow. And although it looks glorious and it is beautiful and it does get rid of the bugs if we get a good enough frost, which I think this year we might be in luck. You know, the thing is that we are all molded by the place where we are born. And when you're born in a country, say, like Brazil, your diet is very, very, very different, customized, I would argue, to that specific location. I would also argue that our traditions that we develop over, and I do believe traditions are also given to us, but that's a whole other video. But let's just say that they naturally evolved without any intrusion of people that want to make a profit on us. Let's just say that it's a natural progression. People in Brazil are going to have different traditions because they have different growing periods. They have different fruits. They have a longer period where they can be basically in their bikini. And their vitamin D intake is totally different than people in four-season countries. And the way that I walk through the forest, as you know, this has been my goal. But the way in which they are able to exercise is vastly different than someone in four-season countries, especially a country where there is a long winter season, or like in northern parts of Sweden, for example. You're such a nut. And they have winter nights for 24 hours, or then summer days for 24 hours. This really plays a very big part in our lives. So as I was thinking this, I was thinking that really changes the way that we interact with each other. I find that people from hot countries are much warmer. They like to hug, they like to kiss, they're a little bit more sexual. And that's not a derogatory thing. It's just they are more free because I would argue that their weather permits it. Like, for example, when you live in Africa or Jamaica or Brazil or, let's see, where else? Cuba. All these countries have one thing in common, which is that they're generally like two-season countries, with some exceptions where there could be more northern parts or whatever. But for the general, the general rule, they don't really need to hurry up. Winter's not coming to kick their ass. And they actually won't die if winter comes and they haven't prepared properly. Come on, Odie. So I had this discussion with someone, and I can't remember who it was, actually. I just really can't. And I remember making the point that weather actually, I think, is a large contributor to whether or not even men and women in a typical, let's say, traditional sense relationship. Whoops! I just whacked you guys. Let's see if everything's still going, because it is getting cool. I would argue that in a cold country, you need to depend on your spouse more so, especially because there's winter season. So if a woman, for example, has a child, she really, if you think about it, she really can't, she's vulnerable. And so she can't go and repair a roof while having a brand new baby and go and stack wood and go and cut wood. She's vulnerable. She has a child. Whereas in a hot country, I would say that if a man decides to leave a woman in a hot country and she just had a baby, that woman can say, yo man, I gotta go to the jungle and I'm gonna feed me and my baby. I don't need your ass, right? So, and I don't know, I'm sure that there's a lot of geopolitical reasons why, people in hot countries have a higher, or had, because this isn't true anymore. This isn't true anymore. I'm talking about sort of the traditional times when, you know, when we had to actually go to the store to buy stuff and we didn't have internet, and that's what I'm talking about, because those are the times that are more true in nature, right? We live in a kind of a Jetson era where we don't have to go to the store, but things show up on our door. We don't have to cook, but we could still fill our belly. And we don't have to go and see someone to see someone. So I'm talking about theoretically in the time when we as human beings were more true to nature. Odie! Odie! Where are you? There you are! Okay, don't go too far. It's a crazy dog. So that's kind of what I was thinking. And then I was thinking about how it takes so much effort for me to right now in this weather, because when I used to live down south, you can just plant everything in May and you had an awesome growing season. I had a garden. It was just a small garden. And I never did anything from seedling. Now I'm doing things from seedlings. But ostensibly, I was able to grow everything within like a 3-month span. Come on, Odie! Odin! Here he comes again. Okay. All right. Have I heard something? I get paranoid sometimes, especially in the early morning or late at night. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? I was just thinking that, women, like I went to Cuba a few times. Oh, this might be cockeyed. I went to Cuba a few times. I love Cuba. And one of the things that I learned in Cuba, which isn't shocking to me, and I think this is one of the times when we started talking about this with the Cubans, is there's a lot of divorce and a lot of people that don't stay together, marriages don't stay together. And I think part of that is that women in those countries are able to really be okay on their own, in the sense that it's not fun or anything like that. It's not like they would want to be alone, or they want the man to leave them, or they want to leave the man. It's just, it's not as big of a disaster than if in a 4-season country the man leaves you. Where are you, Odie? I don't know where he is. So that was the first thing that I thought. And then I thought, having like a little greenhouse inside your house when you live in this kind of environment is absolutely extraordinarily important, because, if you don't start your seedlings now, you are kind of like in a position where you will not be able to feed yourself. Like if I didn't have, let's just say something happens, God forbid, and I can't go to the store, my family will suffer greatly. Like, and that's kind of what I think about, weather and how we've developed our personalities and our societies. We actually, I don't think, qualify the weather as much as I think that we should. Because if you have grown up in a country where you've never needed to get ready for winter, you don't have, I guess, you don't have the something forcing you to push yourself. Like here, I find that it's even very different than southern when I used to live in the south of Ontario. Here, nobody really gets together too much in the summer. Anybody that has like property like this and grows their own food and has animals, everybody is kind of working from morning to night. And it's not the type of work, like going to a 9 to 5 and then not seeing really anything but a paycheck. That's really, that's a scam, man. That is like the ultimate scam. Trading your time for something, for pieces of paper that are then taxed to death, and you have to keep going and going. But this is different. This is when you're here. And that's what I realized being here the first year, is that everybody is working their tail off in the summer and then just taking advantage of the sun. And then in the winter, they email you or text you and say, hey, it's winter time to sit indoors all the time. You guys want to get together for coffee? And that's where I've been getting together with my friends now. All of a sudden, we're getting together with friends. And I realized that up in the north, the social mechanism has changed because of the weather. And I don't think that we, as a civilization that lives in, say, the city, or in somewhere like California or Brazil or Cuba, you don't actually have to, sprint in the summer, because it's summer ostensibly all year round, with wet season or drier season or really hot season or whatever the season is. But you don't really have to worry, like in Australia even. So I kind of think that is something worth pondering on. And I'm curious, I'm opening up, this is just an open invitation to a debate, because I'm kind of wondering if you've noticed your habits based around the weather, and if you've ever given it any thought that, people from Africa may be different than people from Sweden, not because of their color, because that is not really as important as their differences because of where they grew up environmentally. Like people in Sweden, I don't think have bananas, like especially if they live in the locations where it's high north, where it's dark. Bananas must be extremely costly. So must oranges, and so on and so forth. Maybe they're cheaper and more attainable right now in the 21st century. Of course, I told you we're in the Jetson era right now. But in realistic, again, back to basics, it would not be easy to bring those fruit there. Whereas people in Jamaica probably yearn for really crisp apples and cabbage. So I don't know if those things, and maybe they grow now because they found ways and strains, everything's genetically modified. Again, I'm not talking about this world that has been built around for us. This world is very, very delicate. And if I'm talking about the more feet on the ground, real life, if everything were to get switched off, if all of a sudden Trump did actually get off with his tariffs and he started an economic war and things stop moving, or if there is, God forbid, a true and honest kinetic war, I think people will see that weather will be a huge factor in their life, and the way that they behave and the way that they roll out their daily life will be absolutely surrounded, or weather will be part of the main things that you consider. I mean, just think about it this way. In our little Jetson world right now, sorry if you're getting hit by branches because I can't see them. In our little Jetson world right now, think of what weather does to us. Like this right now, this weather, there was like very few people on the road because there was so much snow today, but we absolutely were not going to skip my son's event. But when you are living in the city, even though it's more of a Jetson lifestyle, think of how many things happen when there's a huge snowstorm or a huge rainstorm or major winds. Nothing catastrophic, because catastrophic is completely a different set of circumstances. But you maybe don't go to work, or maybe school gets canceled, or maybe you're staying inside because the heat alert is on. There's so many things that we discredit. Like I didn't even get into the food, and I've got to go inside because I don't know where my dog is. But four season countries historically grew completely different fruits and vegetables than hot climate countries. Like, you can't grow mangoes here. You just can't. You can't grow dragon fruit here. You can't. I mean, you can if you have a serious greenhouse, which, by the way, I'm putting it out there. I've talked to my husband about it. The answer is still no right now, but I'm working on him slowly. So y'all pray for me and, keep your fingers crossed that I can convince him that once we get most of the infrastructure that we need, the basic infrastructure that we need for our place here, that he would consider a greenhouse, because I would love to grow my own banana trees, my own citrus. That would be really, like, guys, I want you to consider that the world is going to be a different place in the next 5 years. And this is probably my tinfoil hat under here, but the world is going to be a different place. And I'm going to venture to say, not better. And I want you to all think about where you live, how your weather will affect you if things get really bad. If things get really bad, how will your weather help you? What are the benefits of the weather that you're around or you're living in, And what are the things that you are going to need to prepare for in order to be successful in whatever it is you need to do to be resilient? Because resilience is going to be the name of the game in the next 5 years. And if you believe that Trump is going to save us, you're on the wrong channel. Goodbye. But if you know that one person can't fix the hundreds and hundreds of years leading us up to this shithole, even though right now this is the best time in the history of humanity as we know it, as we're told about. Best time. But that's part of the problem. Part of the problem is when we're in the best time, our masters say it's time to, take the good times away, because we procreate too much, we consume too much, and we're just too much to handle. Anyway, I don't know if you guys agree with this idea that I had. I just thought that since I'm fighting the weather today and I wanted to come out here, I'm telling you, it's so nice. Like, I'm wearing thin gloves and I just have this jacket is quite thin. Look, Mom, I'm wearing the jacket you got me. And everything is thin. Like, I'm literally, it's dark and probably, I don't know what time it might be, like 7 o'clock. No, it can't be that late because it was brighter when I came out. So let's just say 6:30. It's wonderful. And I know some of the things that I'm getting ready for, knowing that things might get worse, knowing that I might not be able to go and just buy stuff at the store. I mean, of course, if you're a multimillionaire, you may be able to get things. It's always the case. There are some people that have it a little bit better, but I am just imploring you to think about your surroundings, where you live. If you can move to better circumstances, then do it, and do it quickly. But if you can't, figure out what it is that you can do to help you and your family thrive in the next 5 years. Sorry, it's kind of a little bit of a downer ending, but my conclusion is really consider, your surroundings in the next little while. Oh, hello. My dog scared me. Anyways, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna go home, and I guess that's it. So I hope that where you are, it's warmer than this, but I hope it's just as beautiful, because I mean, wow, if I could show you the moon. Oh, I don't know if you'll be able to see the moon. I don't think you will be.
Oh, it is gorgeous. Sorry, that's my breath. Anyways, bye-bye for now.